That siege began this morning when a gunman took the hostages during a bungled robbery attempt. The gunman called Mutual Broadcasting to tell of his plans.
I plan on here and just taking some jewelry and leaving without anybody getting hurt, but in all probability, somebody is going to get hurt, fatally.
The robber originally said he'd stabbed one of the hostages to death, but denied that later. Right now, police say they're waiting for his next move.
Early 20s, walked into the store on exclusive Rodeo Drive. The 5 people held hostage are all employees, including a security guard. A silent alarm brought police, helicopters, and a SWAT team on the run. But so far, the standoff continues. In his radio interview, the gunman said that the store sold him fake jewelry.
He's posted.
Said his name is John and that he came to the store to hold it up, but because he was cheated some years ago by that store. The gunman says he stabbed a security guard to death, but police are operating under the assumption that the guard and the rest of the hostages are still alive and unharmed. It is not known how many of the hostages are employees and how many are customers.
Jewelry store where 5 people are being held hostage. That siege began this morning when a gunman took the hostages during a bungled robbery attempt. The gunman called Mutual Broadcasting to tell of his plans.
I plan on here and just taking some jewelry and leaving without anybody getting hurt, but in all probability, somebody is going to get hurt, fatally.
The robber originally said he'd stabbed one of the hostages to death, but denied that later. Right now, police say they're waiting for his next move. Rodeo Drive out in Beverly Hills, California, is one of the swankiest shopping strips in the nation. But last night, it exploded in a deadly siege at a jewelry store there. A gunman in his early 20s apparently tried to rob the store. When he bungled the attempt, he took 5 hostages. Only 2 survived the bloodbath that followed. 2 hostages were killed execution-style by the gunman in a 13-hour standoff. Another was killed, possibly by a police bullet, when the gunman tried to use 3 hostages as a shield to leave the store. The gunman was later arrested and charged with multiple homicide.
There was only one house. All of its posh surroundings does not usually figure prominently in national affairs. But yesterday, it was the scene of a 13-hour nightmare when a gunman took 5 hostages in a jewelry store. He said the store had cheated him in the past. Finally, the 13-hour nightmare came to an end when the gunman tried to escape using the hostages as cover. When the smoke had cleared, 3 hostages were dead, and the gunman and 2 other hostages were wounded. People's Express Airlines.
Hostages in a Beverly Hills jewelry shop was booked today on suspicion of robbery and multiple homicide. 3 of his hostages were killed during the siege, which ended late last night with a fusillade of gunfire. NBC's Reed Galen reports tonight that the police were unprepared for what happened.
This morning, 2 bodies were carried out of Van Cleef and Arpels. Those of a security guard and a woman police say were executed by suspect Stephen Leviditis. The Beverly Hills standoff had gone on for more than 13 hours, but no one, it seemed, not police, not families of the hostages who waited nearby, expected the gunfire that echoed down deserted Rodeo Drive. A 3rd hostage was killed, 2 others injured, as was Leviditis, when he made a break from the building using the hostages as a shield. A witness said police were settled in for the night and did not expect such an abrupt end to the long siege.
The robber just ran into the SWAT people. And the SWAT guys dropped the grenades and fired without any warning.
Anytime a man will take 5 hostages and threaten to kill them all, that's a ruthless mad dog, and he certainly proved it with what he did.
Stephen Leviditis is 27, wanted in Las Vegas for robbery with a deadly weapon. But as the drama unfolded yesterday, police knew nothing about the gunman who had turned the jewelry store's elaborate security system to his own advantage.
Had windows that were bullet-resistant. The doors were bullet-resistant.
The gunman had made demands for a TV camera to broadcast grievances. He let one of the hostages talk.
What condition are you in right now? Are you being treated?
Tied up. It's hopeless. We want TV cameras, please. Please do as he said.
Her body was later found in the store. Today, shoppers returned to the posh shops along Rodeo Drive, a community that, until now, has successfully isolated itself from such tragedy. Reed Galen, NBC News, Beverly Hills, California.
Hours during which police say the gunman killed 2 of his hostages, he tried to escape using the other 3 hostages as shields.
Police used flash grenades and tear gas and fired at least one shot before subduing the gunman. One of the hostages was killed and the other...
Shootout that turned a Beverly Hills jewelry store into a chamber of horror. Police say 2 of the dead were killed last night by the hostage-taking robber. But Nadine Berger reports there is now a potentially damaging question about how the 3rd victim died.
Beverly Hills police conceded today that one of the hostages killed after the 13-hour siege may have been shot by a law officer. The end came shortly before midnight as the gunman emerged from the rear of the store, trying to use 3 hostages as a living shield. Then, confusion.
At this point, 1 shot was fired, to the best of our ability to determine at this time, was fired by a sheriff's deputy, and 1 hostage was killed here.
But none of the law enforcement agencies involved would say how the hostage died. That will have to wait for results of an autopsy. What is known is that 2 other hostages were wounded and remain hospitalized today. The suspect, 22-year-old Stephen Leviditis, was described by police as a ruthless mad dog and was taken into custody. Inside, 2 hostages were found murdered, execution style. The police insisted yesterday none of the hostages had been hurt, despite news reports to the contrary. One came when a UPI reporter telephoned the suspect.
Well, there was a security guard in here. He was talking back to me. He kept talking, so I killed him. I stabbed him. The man in the back.
And hostage Ann Heilperin was desperate.
Hi, Doc. I'm laying down on the floor. Stephanie says she wants the news media here, please. Would you please send a TV camera to the office? We're all very scared. It's hopeless. We want TV cameras, please. Please do as you said.
She was killed shortly after. Police say the store's impregnable security hampered any rescue attempt. And today, Rodeo Drive was open for business again, except here, with a reminder of last night's terror and death. Nadine Berger, CBS News, Beverly Hills.
Against a Beverly Hills jewelry store. Tonight he's alive, but 3 of his hostages are dead. The gunman, Stephen Leviditis, held police and hostages for 13 hours. He tried to rob the plush Van Cleef & Arpels jewelry store on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, but a silent alarm summoned a small army of police. 2 of the hostages were killed when, in the gunman's words, they did not follow his orders. A 3rd may have been killed by police when the gunman tried to escape the store with 3 hostages under a blanket. 22-year-old Leviditis, a convicted burglar who served no time for burglary, survived. Tonight he is charged with 3 counts of murder.
The gunman tried to make a break from the building using the hostages as a shield. Witnesses say police and SWAT teams did not expect the abrupt end to the long siege.
Just ran into the SWAT people. And the SWAT guys dropped the grenades and fired without any warning.
Anytime a man will take 5 hostages and threaten to kill them all, that's a ruthless mad dog, and he certainly proved it with what he did.
Tonight, authorities say the gunman was also being sought in Nevada in a jewelry store robbery and has been convicted in a burglary case. Another day of violence in South...
An armed camp was finally stopped when police tossed these flash grenades into a jewelry store. The gunman had tried to slip out of the store using his captives as a shield. Earlier, police say the hostage taker, Steve Leviditis, killed 2 of the 5 people he was holding. A 3rd was shot down in the street. The gunman, Leviditis himself, was also injured by police. The situation is over. In South Africa...